Hello. Well, here we are again. I make these videos as things are happening, as the phone calls come in, as I hear stories from other managers, and there's usually a trend of the subject matter from numerous sources. So I want to talk about recalling a board member and petitions, and I keep hearing these same words over and over. We're going to petition to remove a board member. We're going to, make sure management gets them out. Or, these sayings are just, they don't make sense to experienced managers, and they kind of startle and scare some of the current board members. So I wanted to get this out there because there are groups of unhappy owners, and sometimes it's justified that the board member that they want to recall is either acting improperly or acting rudely or controlling everything. I get calls a lot about the tyrannical board, usually a very bad president that has complete control over everything and doesn't let anybody either give their opinion or access to documents. So I wanted to talk about recall in Florida. Per state statute, there's a process, okay? And this is all easily found online. Just go to Google and put Florida Condo Board Recall, and there will be so many guides there, to include some from the DBPR. But overall, I wanted to go over that there's two ways to recall a board member. And again, caveat here, I am not an attorney. Anytime you encounter this, please run this by your attorney, and they will guide you as to what to do next. Again, if you're management or the board. And if you're a group of owners that wants to recall a board member, you may also want to consider hiring an attorney that's familiar with the process so they can guide you. Cost you a couple $100, but it'll save you a lot of time, because what I'm finding is that a lot of groups that want to recall board members are not doing it properly, and they're wasting a lot of time, a lot of management time, a lot of frustrating emotional times with current board members that feel insulted or unappreciated. So we want to make sure that both sides, if you're the group that wants to recall the board member, you have that right, at least in Florida. Other states, check your statutes and procedures. But we want to make sure you do it right so nobody's wasting time. And please, cut it out with the insults and plastering the walls with pictures. You don't have that right. If you're a group of owners recalling a board member, you don't have the right to post and paste and glue and the common areas with your flyers or insults. You're still neighbors. You're still neighbors. So keep it professional. Go for the recall. Do whatever you got to do, but there's no need to be soliciting your neighbors and stating all these insults, and state your case, the reason, and get it done. So there's two ways to recall in Florida, and that is by a vote at a meeting and by written agreement. So in a nutshell, and again, you find this online, by a vote at a meeting is when a group of owners or a representative of the group wishing to have the recall gets a signed petition by 10% of the owners of the property and advises the board, hey, look, I got 10%, we need to hold a meeting, and we're going to have a meeting to vote for a recall. Well, a lot of times they think that that's it, that's all I got to do, I got 10% of the signatures and we're done, management's going to handle the rest of this recall. That's not the case. Sorry. If you're that group or that group's representative, you are going to handle the mailing, you're going to handle the printing, you're going to handle all of that. And that's why I recommend that if you are that person or a group, contact an attorney. Say, hey, how do I do this? So you're going to have to, provide all that. And if you succeed and, you get the 10% signatures, you do the mailing, you hold the meeting within 10 to 60 days after the mailing, you notice the board, you do everything that's required in the statute, and you recall less than a majority of the board, well, the remaining members of the board have to appoint new board members to those vacancies. If you're recalling the entire board or a majority, you'll have to name those that are replacing the recalled board members. So that's the first way, and that is the most confusing part with this 10% of signatures and, hey, we're gonna get 10% and you're out. That's not the case. It's a very complicated process, and from what I've read and heard from attorneys, that vote by a meeting is rarely successful. So the other way, the second way to do it is to have a recall by written agreement. And that's basically a ballot. You can find it online. It's a form, and it chooses to either recall or retain a board member. The owner signing the ballot checks off. You can't have a pre-checked ballot. To retain or recall a board member, and you have to gain a majority. So it's 51%. You have to gather 51% or more of the voting interest, and then serve the board or management or maybe the attorney. Again, check with your attorney that you have these votes. Now, it's recommended that you get much more than a majority, because some of those votes may not be valid. It may not be the owner signing. It could be a tenant. It could be that the unit is owned by a corporation and we don't have the corporation documents and a voting certificate. I mean, it gets complicated. So you might go through all this work and find out that a lot of the ballots or forms that you've submitted are no good. You're not going to be happy with that. So once the owner's rep or the group, the owner's rep, collects these ballots, forms, they serve the board these agreements by certified mail or processed server. The board then has 5 business days starting after receipt of these forms to hold a meeting to either certify or not certify the recall. If the board votes to not certify the recall, there's a very limited number of reasons for that, usually because you don't get enough signed agreements for a majority. Then if they don't certify the recall, they must petition for recall arbitration with the DBPR. Again, not my field here. Contact your attorney. I can't say it enough, but important. And then if the board certifies a recall, well, the recall director is off. If it's less than a majority of the board, the remaining board members appoint a new board member. And if the board chooses not to hold a meeting, then the director or directors sought to be recalled are automatically off the board within at the 5th business day after the service of the recall agreement has been served. So again, it's a legal process, and owners have the right to do that. Congratulations, fantastic, I'm all for it. But make sure you act professional, and there's a little bit of etiquette. You don't insult your neighbors. You don't stress everybody out to the point that it can get violent, dare I say, because I've seen it, maybe you've seen it. Owners are kind of at each other's throats and finger pointing and screaming. Not good. At the end of the day, you're going to have to see these people anyway. So recall, do it right, get counsel. If you're a current board member being recalled, don't worry about it. If you've done nothing wrong, if it's just politics, I hate to say it, just relax, don't worry about it, let the process play out, and maybe you're going to learn something from it. You know, maybe you're being recalled because you make decisions too quickly and people don't feel that they're being heard. It's a big deal, you know, transparency and all. So if you need anything, please reach out to me, Corel Costa Armas, corelcosta.com or homeownerassociationconsulting.com. I'm here to help. I help new boards, old boards. I help groups of owners. I help all sorts of people. Just give me a call. Let me know what I can help you with. See my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Homeowner Association Consulting. and maybe we'll talk. Take care.